Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to remove the EGR valve. You may have other reasons on why you would like to remove it, but my reason is that the EGR was causing the car to have a rough idle issue. The valve was actually not sealing properly, causing a vacuum leak. So you want to start off by loosening the flare nut on the exhaust side of the engine. I feel it's better to loosen this first because it helps out loosening the EGR valve later. I used an adjustable wrench to loosen it. A flare nut wrench would have probably been best to use though. And the space is tight, so just do your best to loosen it, but don't loosen it all the way just yet. After that, just go ahead and loosen and remove the vacuum hoses. I also like to loosen this valve or the back pressure transducer valve, so it gives me a little bit more room to remove the EGR valve. I used a ratchet and a 12mm socket to remove the two screws. Once the two screws are out, you can separate the EGR valve from the intake. You can remove it completely now from the car with some effort though. I was originally going to replace the gasket on the EGR valve, but when I removed the EGR, I tested it and it wasn't sealing properly. I put some water on one end of the EGR valve and the water leaked right through. As soon as I discovered this, I ended up just removing the entire EGR valve and used the blocking plate that I bought from eBay. I also bought an exhaust bolt that plugs into the exhaust side of the EGR valve. I actually got the plug from the dealer too. After the blocking plate and bolt plug were installed, the engine ran great after that, and it fixed my idling issue. These are the bolts that I had to purchase because my blocking plate didn't come with any, so I bought some shorter bolts. Now that the bolts that are holding down the last part of the EGR system are exposed, you can now remove it so that you can replace it with the blocking plate. I used a ratchet and socket to remove the two bolts on the opposite sides of each other. You have enough room to use a ratchet with an extension too. I used a closed wrench to remove the last bolt holding down the part. With the EGR valve out of the way, you will have more room to remove this bolt. After you removed the three bolts and the part is now able to come out, there is actually a gasket left. I used a blade to help in removing this gasket. So after the gasket is out, I used a sponge that has a rough surface or what is similar to a Scotch-Brite sponge. Just go ahead and clean it the best you can and make sure that the surface is smooth. Now the blocking plate is ready to be installed. Go ahead and place the gasket for the plate. And after the gasket is in place, go ahead and place the plate on top of the gasket and position it to be bolted down. Like I mentioned earlier, it's important that the plate comes with the bolts, or if the plate you bought doesn't come with the bolts, be ready to purchase some shorter bolts. The original bolts will not be able to hold down the plate properly because the bolts are simply too long. When the exhaust bolt is ready to be installed, don't forget to add some anti-seize compound too to prevent it from getting stuck. Now that everything is installed and connected, just tighten up the exhaust bolt, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a great day.